to be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life.
My theory on referees is you give them the nicest changing room in the stadium.
It's just the most bizarre thing I've ever
Hear me out.
I cannot believe Gabriel Agbonlahor is
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible. Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot.
Hello and welcome to the Villa View podcast. Feels a bit weird for me to say that, but stepping in place of Dan Bardell, who's sunning himself quite leisurely in Barbados.
Oh, he's burnt, isn't he?
Oh, that's true. Day one, he was burnt.
Day one, he was burnt.
It's Tom Julian, and I'm joined by Chris Dolan, which makes a refreshing
Good
change.
to see you, man, yeah.
You know, bang on time, I was. I know there's
You were bang on time. In fact, you pulled in literally to the second.
I do what I do. It's great to have you here. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, man, good. I don't want to say too much in case I get branded talking nonsense.
The Steve Bruce slur.
But I'm doing okay. A win's a win. That's 3 points.
How has the season started for you overall?
I mean, I was quite positive. Well, I come on here. I've been a little bit less so on Twitter over the last few weeks, but it's difficult. Kind of emotions run high and frustrations set in, especially whenever you're conceding late goals and all the rest of it. We'll not discuss what happened on the road, Sheffield United, but I was very positive the last time I was on here with Dan and trying to be the voice of reason and looking at what had happened over the summer and not knowing what kind of squad we'd have, and it was really uncertain times. And I did say that I thought Bruce was handled himself, I thought, very well over the summer, in terms of no one knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, sure.
Fast forward 8 games, and even fast forward a few weeks from Bruce's early interviews in pre-season, potentially the third richest owners in the country come in. We keep our 2-star players. We bring in Balassi, we bring in Abraham, we bring in McGinn, and so on and so forth. For me, on paper, especially going forward, that's as good as I've ever seen it. At that level,
yeah,
that's as good as I've ever seen it. Wolves last season were a real class above in terms of quality, but I think our front six it should blow anyone away.
Yeah.
But I think what's got me and what's got most fans is it's the stubbornness of Bruce. It's the lack of planning. It's the kind of there's very little balance in the team at the minute. Just to look at someone like Twanzebe, comes in, plays at centre back on Saturday, has a pretty good game alongside Chester. Chester in the post-match said he enjoyed playing with him. It'll take a while to gel and blend.
That's so important, that relationship.
And then Tuesday night, last night, Jedinak's back in defence. Now I don't know if he had picked up a knock or what.
That's what they said. Yeah.
It's just Bruce bangs on about the club, about the squad. Building relationships and partnerships, but he's not letting them do that. He's playing players in and out of positions, letting players go like Adoma, falling through at the last minute. And so there isn't going to be that kind of balance and that cohesion that he is waxing lyrical about and telling us that we need to be patient about. So there's just so many little frustrating things, and it's just frustrating. It's frustrating.
We're going to come on more.
That's the word.
More to that a little bit later on. Obviously, since the international break, we've had 2 games already, and we're going to get into both of those in chronological order, as I like to do. I like to keep in control. Done.
It's all very well laid out here. I'm very impressed.
Well, what I'm most impressed.
Coloured printer as well.
Expense. No expense spared. That's the words. And I like it that you've actually printed out the notes as well with a stapler. Dan, there's a few things you can learn from this.
They are your notes.
Yeah, that's true. And my pen.
And your pen.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there one way or another. But there's, as I say, a lot to talk about, and not all of it's positive. So I'm sure we're going to come on to it. But let's start with the Blackburn game at the weekend. A 1-1 draw at Ewood Park, and it was a dreadfully boring game.
I think again, Chester had said that in his post match after Blackburn that that they were hurting after what had happened.
Yeah.
They were fragile, actually, was what he said, and you can understand that.
International break actually came at a good time for us.
Yeah, and you can understand what he means, like the fragility in the squad. Looking at the fact that Bruce had come out after the game and said that he had played 2 or 3 players that weren't fit, especially McGinn, and he's the engine room in that middle, and if he's not fit, and as we've seen, they just ran past us.
And we had Hurahan on the bench, who could be that engine man.
So I can understand the slight sort of fragility, the nervousness, the fact that we didn't want to make a mistake, the fact that we didn't want to get another drubbing away from home, back to back. So yeah, it was probably all in all a pretty good point.
Wow, I'm surprised.
No, it's a good point in the circumstances. Mate, we should be going there and we should be beating Blackburn. Absolutely,
Definitely.
I'm not saying that it was a good point because Blackburn are a great side and we're not a great side. We should be beating everyone week in, week out. Obviously, that's not the way it happens. But on the grand scheme of things, 4 points in the last 2 games after being beaten by Sheffield United 4-1 is not a bad return.
I'm really surprised.
But I'm not like I'm still miserable.
Well, I think you have an internal optimism. I think you get in this booth and you get excited and you want to talk positively about Villa. For me, I mean, Blackburn also before the international break lost 4-1 as well. So I felt like it was a real opportunity for Villa to have I really saw it as a clean slate to go, do you know what, we're going to be a new side. We've brought in Abraham, we've brought in Balassi. I know Balassi wasn't fully fit and fully ready to go to start, but we had the makings of a very exciting front six, which you said, and which we saw a bit more of on
last
Tuesday night. Yeah, but
or Tuesday night, sorry.
But when Saturday rolled around, it was such a boring game, and they had their chances. Bradley Dack had his goal disallowed early before McGinn, who got side down in the box. It was ridiculous that free that penalty.
What does Stonewall actually mean? What does it mean?
I have no idea.
How did the word Stonewall come into the...
A stone wall. Does it mean like certain?
Stonewall?
Like as in a stone wall is so solid,
yeah.
it's got real good foundation. If that's completely wrong, let us know in the comments, because that's interesting. I love the etymology of words.
Stonewaller.
That's a big, in the countdown when they go to Dictionary Corner and Susie giving us all the background in words. Anyway, you've distracted me.
Sorry.
McGinn, Stonewall penalty, you're absolutely right. But Blackburn could have also gone 1-0 up there as well. But there just didn't seem to be any rhythm to the passing. It was a slow game. That's
the way it's been. That's the way it's been in the last 2 years.
Totally. That's why I'm kind of surprised that you say it's a good point after the international.
It's a good point because we were awful.
But Blackburn were awful as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't a one-way. It wasn't like we were lucky
it wasn't
to get
one-way
a point.
traffic.
It was frustrating. 28 shots for both sides, but only 8 on target. 5 of those coming for Villa, but all of those shots kind of came from length. A lot of them right down the goalkeeper's throat. McGinn had a couple of opportunities. Still working on McGinn's shooting boots, I think. But it was just such a frustrating game to watch because, like you say, we have the players to do it, and we're just not putting it together.
For me, it all comes down to what happens on the training pitch. That's these guys need to be coached properly. I said to you on the phone the other day, maybe was it you or was it Dan? I can't remember. Leeds brought in 2 players in the off season, and they're ripping it apart.
Yep, top of the league.
Because they're being coached. They're being clear guidelines. There's a philosophy. There's an identity. And as a Villa fan, we're crying out for an identity. This is Aston Villa. This is what we do. I know Wyness said about the Villa way and all that nonsense last year, which never materialised. But unfortunately, under Bruce, you're only going to get one thing, and that's all he knows. It's that direct style. There might be the odd play, the odd passage play. Like on Tuesday, I thought it was a very well worked goal, but that's to be expected whenever you have the quality of player that we have up front. That should happen.
Yeah.
But it's there's just no identity, and we're being labelled as the fans are moaning. We're only 7 games in, and we're the media are at him, and the fans are at him, and there's everyone's miserable. But we just want to see a Villa team with an identity. You know, we didn't beat Brentford at home. We drew 2-2, but we played really well, and the fans appreciated that. And it was good to watch. It was good football. It was entertaining football. That's all we want. Sport is an entertainment, but it's becoming a business. Business first, entertainment second. Yeah, and that's not what the fans don't pay their money to put it into the business. They pay their money to be entertained.
Okay, hypothetically.
And I think so we have every right to be frustrated. We want to see a Villa team, a club with a plan, a clear plan, and a clear identity of where we're going to go.
So hypothetically, if we carry on the football that we're playing, we qualify for the playoffs, or we don't qualify for the playoffs, but we play great football. We come in 8th, 9th. Now, I want to know what you say, and then I'm going to have my opinion, because I get my opinion when Dan's not here. It's quite nice.
Yeah. So what you're saying is
play good football, but no playoffs, or qualify for the playoffs, but we play turgid football, Pulis football potentially, Bruce football.
It's the same old question. Would you rather go down, or would you rather win the FA Cup? You know, personally, I just want to be entertained. Personally, I just want to see my team score lots of goals, play good football, and get the crowd on their feet. And generally, Tom, if that happens, then you're going to win more games than not. So
yeah, I agree. That's exactly the point I was going to make. Yeah.
So if you stick to a philosophy, I mean, I remember you look at Fulham and certain teams who have a philosophy, and yes, they might get caught out now and again, but they stick to what they believe in, and we seem to chop and change week in, week out, and there's no cohesion, there's no fluidity in our play, and it's the constant changing and the constant moving players around and playing players out of position that really frustrates me, and I would say frustrates most of the Villa faithful.
Do you think that Bruce is getting closer to finding his starting 11? Do you think that the time for change is slowly coming to an end?
In terms of
personnel, so, yeah, exactly. So, for example, playing. I mean, he obviously seems quite happy with Jedinak at centre back. Is it better to go right? Okay, Jedinak's going to be centre back.
But that means then he's going to move Hutton to left back, Twanzebe to right back. He loves Al Mohammadi, so where's Al Mohammadi going to play?
But what I'm saying is, do you think whatever? So take the team last night. Do you think that is going to be the starting team going forward?
No, because I don't know if he's got the you know what's to play two up front away from home.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You don't know what under Bruce.
Yeah.
I don't know what, because he what pre-season we did the whole 5-3-2, was it, the whole attack and win backs all pre-season, and he bins it.
Yeah.
He bins it against Hull. So I don't know, and that's the thing. We've got no identity, so I don't know what we're going to do week after week. I just don't know. Don't know who's going to play where. Don't know what formation we're going to play. I don't know how we're going to play. I can't call Saturday. I have no idea how it's going to go.
Yeah,
no idea.
Blackburn's goal, to take it back to Blackburn, was again
just a ball in the box.
I was going to say frustrating is probably going to be the word of the evening. Again, turned in by a little flick from Bradley Dack.
Good player, really good player.
Yeah, I know.
Good finish as well.
West Brom were after him as well in the summer.
Matt Lynch wanted us to sign him whenever we first went down.
It would have been terrible then if Matt Lynch wanted him.
Well, yeah, he's a good player. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a bigger move in January, depending on where Blackburn are. But a frustrating ball into the box that wasn't dealt with.
But we should talk about, and Dan tweeted at us, with this man, Conor Hourihane, starts on the substitute bench, which we've talked about a lot in here, as a big bugbear, a big frustration for us. Comes on again makes a difference, Conor Hourihane, with a sublime free kick, a really, really well taken goal.
Can we get Dan's stat up, actually? Because I can't remember exactly what he had said, but there was a good stat that he had tweeted last year as well. So it wasn't like this is a new thing, and that's the thing with Bruce. There's lots of kind of similarities, from last year in terms of defeats and in terms of personnel, players coming in, players being left out. And the thing he said with Hourihane, bring that up any second. No, yes, there we go.
Conor Horan didn't start the season. We lost twice, recalled and scored 4 in the next 2.
This is last season?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, dropped for Millwall, we drew 0-0. Dropped for Brentford away, we lost 2-1. Recalled, we win 7 in a row. Dropped for Hull away, drew 0-0. Recalled and scores. He Dan subtweeted that and sent it to us today, and the same is happening. Like, whenever Horan is involved, something happens.
Yeah.
And at Blackburn, he rescued the point for us.
Started against Hull, first game of the season.
Yep.
Won that.
Yep.
Scored in the Carabao Cup.
Yep.
I still call it the Coca-Cola Cup.
Yeah.
Scored in the Carabao Cup.
Because you're a classic.
Yeah, old school, mate. We won that 1-0. Scored the winning goal.
Yeah.
Doesn't start against Wigan. Comes on, plays a beautiful ball into the box for Bjarnason.
Yeah.
Last minute
winner.
Win 3-2.
Yep.
Doesn't start against. Oh, John.
He
doesn't start in the next. Yeah, doesn't play against Brentford. Doesn't play against Reading. Doesn't play against Ipswich.
Yeah.
Plays last night. Comes on Saturday. Scores an absolutely world class. So again, just on that goal. It wasn't mentioned. Nobody, none of the papers, none of the TV channels, tweeted. There was no tweets about how good that free kick was.
Yeah.
See how far he starts it outside the wall.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and the pressure he's under.
Unbelievable. And I'm sure the guy's frustrated as well. I'm sure he's really frustrated. He's like, what can I do? He scores the most goals last season from a Villa midfielder since the days of Platt, I believe, 92, 93.
Right.
Scores a hat-trick as well last night. Really, assists, really influential. Big fan favourite, in the dressing room. And he gets dropped. And, comes on, plays last night. I thought he had a great game last night. Thought he could have scored after 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then
let's go on to the Rotherham game because there's a whole lot to talk about. The only other thing I want to say from Blackburn was that they. Full credit to Blackburn, gone a full calendar year without losing at home. Yeah. So maybe that says that I didn't respect them as much, and obviously they're set up to win. But the
last time we played them, they beat us.
But the problem was the result. The result is kind of by the by. It's more the fact that the performance was so boring. Turgid is exactly right. But let's move on to Tuesday night because. At least we can talk about 3 points. We can talk about a clean sheet. There are positives that we can take from Tuesday night. He doesn't agree. Now we're going to get the Dolan. Come on, Dolan.
I just think, Rob.
It go, Sam.
No, it isn't. I'm not going to go all Arsenal fan TV on you, but I just recall the first season in that league when we beat them 3-0 at home.
Yeah.
And we absolutely walked them, and that game was always my reference point. We just blew them away that day.
Yeah.
And we haven't really blown away many teams in the last 2 and a bit seasons. They're just a bang average side. They're just bang average. End of story. They're just awful, But they are and again,
they're a different side to the team that we walloped, but they're not a good side. If anyone that watched the game last night, I thought both teams gave the ball away an awful lot, and we should have been protecting the ball a little bit more. If there's one knock I would bring against John McGinn, who I think has been an excellent signing, is that he's a little bit wasteful with the ball sometimes. And
he gets a little bit. He's kind of like a bit of a Duracell bunny, just like.
I mean, he wins as many balls as he loses for sure, which is absolutely, and his energy is absolutely brilliant.
And he wins it back as well. So there was a few moments on Tuesday when he lost the ball and he won it back, which is all you can ask for, Yeah. Love to see him score though.
Absolutely. So Tammy Abraham and Yannick Bolasie both scored on their home debuts, which is so important, Chris, for attacking players, particularly Tammy Abraham, who had a couple of chances against Blackburn and then an early chance where Grealish glanced it across, and Abraham just couldn't get on the end of it.
I'm not worried about it. I think I really do. I think we've got a real player on our hands. The Blackburn chance and the chance last night on Tuesday night was. It happens. You know what I mean? It can happen if you're in form. It can happen if you're off. If you're out of form. Took his goal really well.
Lovely through ball from Kodja.
Yeah, I like his body language. I always watch that when players when we score a goal. I always like to see how other players react. Mm-hmm. He seems to be really up for it. Seems to really thrive on on the big occasion, big stage. You know, he's not. Has he played many? Would he play many times in front of a full Stamford Bridge?
No, I wouldn't have
thought so. Bristol City, not a big crowd. Swansea, not a big crowd. Villa Park, very imposing. Like very, you know, it's like breathtaking when you walk out of that tunnel. So, didn't faze him.
I thought
and I like his confidence as well.
Matt Kendrick tweeted earlier, which I liked. I think.
Who?
Matt Kendrick.
You can't. That's a name that's not going to be. That's not going to go down.
He's in your bad books, is it?
No, I like Matt, but someone else's bad books.
Dan Bardell's bad books.
Steve Bruce.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was going to say that's fine. I don't mind that. I don't mind getting on the wrong side of Bruce. He's not going to be bothered about it.
Mark Kendrick.
But what he tweeted was that he was pleased to see Tammy Abraham get booked for chasing the ball down and kind of harrying players.
And he tracked back a few times as well last night.
Totally, and we're seeing with him and McGinn and Hurahan, these players that want to win the ball back, and that's something that we haven't really seen in the first 5-6 games. You know, there's been a little bit of a kind of laissez-faire attitude to winning the ball back. You like that?
Very good. Was that a bit of French?
Laissez-faire, yeah.
What is it?
It's like a bit casual, a bit kind of relaxed about it. No urgency.
I love it, mate. I love that. It's really impressive. But that comes down. I think this league, you need legs. You need fitness and legs in the middle of the park.
Yep.
Bruce seems to think you need experience. I think you need fitness. You need energy. And when you play Hurahan and McGinn and Grealish, and you've got El Ghazi and Balassi, you've got energy, you've got pace. Even Kodja and Abraham kind of tracking back just before the halfway line. You know, they can pick up the ball.
Yeah.
I thought Abraham's interview was quite interesting when he said that they worked on that in training. If Kodja comes deep, he goes forward, and that's what happened for the goal.
I mean,
he saw Kodja drop back. He's like, right, I'll go forward. Through ball, you know, great through ball from Kodja and a lovely finish. So, I mean, it'll come. It's just that understanding. But for me, that's the team. That's the team that should start on Saturday. I worry about Grealish though on the left. But when he's been playing in the middle of the season, he's been very deep.
Yeah.
So maybe he needs a bit of a change, freshen up a little bit for him on the left. But I thought he was effective enough on the left, but I just don't think he's at his best on the left-hand side.
I was going to say, he got involved in the game, and to be honest, the last couple of games we've seen from him, he wasn't able to impose himself.
But is he lacking a bit of confidence? I mean, there was a point on Tuesday when he could have hit it first time in front of the whole end in the second half, and he let it run through his legs for Hurahan, and obviously Hurahan wasn't expecting it. Last season, Grealish would have just put his foot through that.
Yeah, I mean, there was one point as well where Grealish absolutely read a Rotherham defender sliding in and just pulled his foot out of the way and then shot, and it just went over the bar as well. So he's still got that sharpness and that
class act,
that willingness to take a shot on. We've always said that goals is something that Grealish could add to his game, and hopefully that's going to come as we progress this season. I thought it was interesting. They had Steve Holland, the England assistant manager, watching on as Grealish, and obviously Tammy Abraham as well, playing last night. So I wonder what Holland and obviously feeding back to Southgate, what England will think about these championship players, because Southgate has been quite critical of the young England players not being able to get in at Premier League level.
I think the whole Grealish and Abraham thing, I think especially with Grealish, I mean, how do you see him this season at all playing for England? Or?
I'm not sure. Like we've talked about Southgate wanting to play players that are playing it for their current clubs, and that's why he's looking out with the Premier League a little bit. But I think it's a different thing saying it and a different thing actually implementing it.
It's a compliment, you know. I'm sure it would do Grealish's confidence and world of good knowing that he's being watched, but potentially.
Sure. Because Mason Mount from Derby, who's on loan from Chelsea, he was watched as well. So there's. Whether it's just a psychological boost for these players, like you say, which isn't a bad move at all, or whether Southgate actually thinks that he's going to, or not even thinks, but is going to bring them in to the squad and give them that experience. You know, you give a player a little bit taste of the England setup, and then they want to drive on and have more of that. Yeah,
I just think with friendlies, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't experiment. I think was it the the last friendly, you guys played at the King Park, Leicester Stadium. Who you playing against? Kane came on, and there obviously was uproar in the media. Why bring on Kane?
Yeah.
When he's burnt out. Why bring him on for in a friendly? There's no need. Just experiment. Bring in the likes of Abraham, bring in Grealish, bring in Mason Mount. Just threw them in. He brought in players like Ben Chilwell.
Yeah.
I mean, it does help playing on the biggest stage, playing in the Premier League, but. Listen, you can't ignore a player of Grealish's quality.
Yeah.
He's been compared to Gaza. He has that swagger. He has that flair that England are missing. I mean, Sturridge has the pace and has the trickery, but Grealish has a certain swag about him.
When he gets into his own, he's really unstoppable. We saw him in the playoffs, like taking the ball from his own half and taking it all the way. Yeah. And we need that confidence back. And whether he can do that on the left-hand side or not remains to be seen. We did get to see McGinn and Hourihane play together, which we've asked for a long time. Bruce went with a 4-4-2, which we watched fan cams, and a lot of people happy with the 4-4-2. Obviously, Codger and Abraham had that link up, but it showed that Hourihane and McGinn can play together as well and be effective. Yeah, no, I mean, and they both offer a lot going forward as well. Yeah. And with the pace we have, to have someone like Hourihane and McGinn who can just thread the ball through an eye of a needle. Yeah. And I always say pace is killer. Take it to these teams. Exactly. But we're Aston Villa. Like, this is what I don't understand. I mean, I don't know why we're so negative at times. It's like, come on, and quotes, like, we'll be thereabouts, and it should be, no, we're going to win the league. We should be blowing this league away and blowing this league apart. And that's how I want that mentality. I want that to through the club. And just that willingness and again, as I said earlier on, like having that identity to go out and just win a game of football and know who we are. Well, I thought we saw a little bit more bite as well last night with Yannick Bolasie grabbing his first goal. He had to do a lot to get to that header, beating the defender to the ball, and I thought he did really well to stick that away and kill the game, because before that it looked like one of those games that could just drift into a 1-1 rather than a 1-0. It was that kind of, it was that, again, as you said, it was that kind of game where even a 1-0 wouldn't have been great. Yeah. We need to win the supporters over by playing good football, good attacking football. Yeah. And last night, 2-0, 3 points, clean sheet. But that was the second lowest crowd we've had since we've been down in the Championship. It's not surprising. 27,000. That doesn't surprise me. And Villa Park was silent. There was there was nothing. But what can you can't be surprised at that. No, the football's been so bad leading up to it. We need the players. People aren't going to pay their money to watch that. Totally, I agree, and that's what I said. It's football it's an entertainment. It's sports entertainment. You should be entertained. And again, under Bruce, are we going to get that level of entertainment week in, week out? I don't think we are. Well, let's talk about it, because a lot of your questions coming in this evening were about Bruce and his post-match comments. So I'm just going to read them verbatim, if you don't mind. Well, you don't have a choice. You could interrupt. I could do, but I won't bother. Oh, thanks, mate. I have got 4 promotions. Last year I nearly had a 5th, yet I don't know what I'm doing. The most intelligent people will see through all the nonsense and realise we've got the makings of a decent team. Unfortunately, it filters through the mad few. The vast majority of supporters are right behind what we're trying to do. You can feel it in the stadium. I couldn't feel it last night. If they wanted me out, the stadium would have erupted with it before the start. The supporters can see we had a bloody awful performance at Sheffield. Now we're sitting in 6th. I hope it shuts a few people up, but I doubt it. Now, Dolan, instant reaction when you see that. How do you feel? You put me in the spot. It's just an insult, really, isn't it? It's an insult. A man of his supposed class, a man of his experience. It just feels, again, this went on last season as well. This happened last season. There was, after the Brentford game, back in when we went on an awful run in December. It was very much me versus them. It was very much, how can you criticize me? And it's this whole I've had 4 promotions, I've done this, I've done that. Look at my record. Well, mate, you've never done it at a big club. What have you done for me lately? Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've never done it at a big club. You've never won any silverware.
it's the arrogance. It's the arrogance. We've just beat Rotherham 2-0. Rotherham, absolutely dreadful. Like, you know, I mean,
and it wasn't a
a 5 or 6-0.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was just a bog standard 2-0 on a Tuesday night against a team that we should be dismantling regardless.
Scott Edwards on Twitter: with Bruce taking petty pot shots at his fans in post-match interviews, is he setting himself for further fan anger when we fail to perform against the top 6 side? Interesting question.
What do you think?
Well, I think that he's setting himself up for anger when we fail to perform against any side, to be honest. Obviously, there's going to be more vitriol if we're drawing against Ipswich or Preston or, again, Reading, like these kind of 2 of those 3 that we've already dropped points against this year. But when it comes to competing at the very top, that's where Villa fans want to be. You know, we've talked about Villa being an automatic promotion team here because we didn't lose those players, because we got through that horrible summer, and we should be competing with all of these teams. So I think it's... the problem I have is that I don't know where Bruce wins back the fans. Like, if he plays good football but continues talking like this, that's not going to endear him to anyone.
Work.
I thought 75,000 to Holt, Jamo Rushton, had a really good point on his website. He said, winning games or trying to win games will fix almost anything, but all the hard work counts for naught if it's followed up by a metaphorical slap in the jaw.
But I just don't know why, you know, who... Surely, if you're the press officer, or if you work in the media team, or whatever field that comes under, surely you got to pull him aside and say, "Listen, Steve, you know, why are you trying to pick fights?"
I would say Steve Bruce has been around long enough that he probably does have somebody saying that, and he's like, "Listen, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about me." And
I'd love to know what other fans think from other clubs, like Hull fans, Sunderland fans. Did it happen there when the going got tough? How was his relationship with other fans, or is he just feeling the pressure at us? Is this the first time he's kind of? Because I don't know if this is a new thing. It's happened because of the pressure of managing such a big club like Aston Villa.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit like the whole David O'Leary thing, and whenever the banner came out, we're not fickle, we just don't like you. For him to call Villa fans fickle, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like in my line of work, if I was to have a dig at a customer who just spent £1,000 on a suit, I'm going to get the sack.
Yeah.
You can't do it. These fans.
The mad few.
We follow this club up and down the country, week in, week out. Now, some fans pay a lot more money than others.
Yeah.
Travel the length and breadth of the country. They spend. That's their life, right? It's following Aston Villa, and you're essentially insulting them as well.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. The mad few. I think.
What does that mean? Who are the mad few?
I feel like, and I've been defensive of Bruce of this in the past. I don't feel like Bruce doesn't have a media training. He doesn't have a media background. He says the things that he's thinking, and there's no real filter there. So, for example, little stuff before, like when he said that we're in a financial pickle, it's not the right words. When he says we'll be there or thereabouts.
What does that mean?
When he says we see through all the nonsense and the only people moaning are the mad few, there's no
facts.
Like you say, there's no press officer grabbing his shoulder and going, "Whoa, stop saying that."
Even against Blackburn, he said when he came into the club we were bottom of the league.
Yeah.
Bangs on about having no money to spend.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like we're not fools. You know what I mean? Like we're not in 1993 whenever nobody had a computer. You know what I mean? We know, like, facts are there. It's black and white.
Kev J, there seems to be a considerable disconnect on the subject of Bruce between fans at Villa Park and on Twitter. Why do you think it's so different? That's an interesting one for you and I, who don't spend as much time as Dan, say, at Villa Park. But the guys that I know that do spend a lot of time there seems to be a fair amount of unpleasantness towards Bruce at this point anyway. It seems to me like the disconnect is becoming more of a connect. There seems to be a more well-rounded dislike of Bruce than just the minority.
Well, they always say once you lose the away support, once you lose the hardcore, then it's a long way back. I did hear a few Steve Bruce's Claret and Blue Army last night from the Holt Ends, which I was surprised about. But when he's in charge, I want what's best for Aston Villa, not what's best for Steve Bruce.
Yeah, totally.
So when he's here, we just have to get on with it, really. I made a comment on Twitter that I didn't particularly celebrate Hurahan's free kick on Saturday because, I don't know what I was celebrating. It was another bang average point. If anything, I was celebrating the beauty and the craftsmanship of that left foot. It was a stunning goal, but it was all just a little bit like, this is tough. This is a tough watch.
Yeah, it was
It's
a tough
just
watch.
a slog.
Yeah,
and even last night we could have got ourselves into another mess.
Yeah. Well, Rick Barley on the other side of this then, Chris, I don't blame Bruce having a little dig at the fans. He's obviously aware of the crap that comes from a minority of fans and the local press. He knows he will never please all of the fans no matter what he does or what the team does. What do you guys think? Now, I do think that Rick makes an interesting point there in that there's some fans that wouldn't ever be won back by Bruce. And I've asked this to Dan before. What could Steve Bruce do that would get you and other Villa fans back on side and be to sing Steve Bruce's
play the
Claret
football
Blue
that we know the squad's capable of playing.
Yeah.
We should have gone up last year with that squad. Stop talking nonsense.
Stop hiding.
In his pre-match and his post-match. Everyone says Bruce says it as it is, but he doesn't. He hasn't been said. He's been talking himself nonsense. I just want to see us play the football that I know we're capable of playing. If we had a team, if we had gone down the route that we thought we were going to go down, and we didn't have the money, and these new owners didn't come in, and we were skint, and we had to play a lot of the kids, then do you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
If we were sitting sixth at the minute with what we thought we would have had, punching way above our station.
Yeah.
We've got a 35, 40 million pound player on loan from Everton. We've got Abraham, who's scored 25 goals. We've got Jack Grealish, who Spurs wanted for 40 million pounds. James Chester, one of the best centre backs in that league by a mile, and one of the best centre backs we've ever had at Aston Villa. We've got just talent in abundance. We've got an outrageous stadium. Beautiful stadium, amazing facilities, amazing fan base. It's all there. And I don't know why. That's just. It only needs. We just want to see it right on the pitch. We just want to see. And we're not going to win every game 4-0 and 5-0. Like, of course we're not. Wolves came to us last year and we turned them over 4-1. But they were still by far and away the best team in that league. It does happen.
Yeah.
But for us, it's happening week in, week out, and season in, season out, and nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's the expectation level of the Villa fans, which I think has been fairly raised from where we were in the
Bruce
summer.
has the, if you go back to our golden period under O'Neill when we were finishing sixth and we were challenging for top four. O'Neill had everything he needed and everything he wanted at that level for a club like us. At our current level, where we are in the Championship, we are the Man City of that Championship. He has everything he needs. He's got everything he's wanted.
Well, we still have to fit in within financial fair play, so we're not quite the Man City. But I take
at that level, Tom. You bring in someone like Yannick Bolasie.
Yeah, we've got some great players. There's no doubt about that.
McGinn. At that level, James Chester.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I still don't think.
Twanzebe.
I don't think there's a Man City level in the Championship, as in not like for like, but there's no one that's streets ahead. Maybe we should be one of those teams up there, but I don't think we are. I think we should be competing to be up there, for sure. But for a reference, maybe a Liverpool. Maybe a Liverpool.
They're becoming the Man City of the
I mean,
Premier League.
But they're playing great. They're playing great football, attractive football.
Yeah.
They've got great players. We have great players. We should be able to play good football. I think
and it's not happening.
It's not happening. Not happening just yet. All right. Well, let's have a couple more questions here. Jack Hurley, how do you assess the McGinn, Connor, Jack midfield experiment? I think that that they should continue to play together, but they do enough to. But did they do enough to convince Bruce? Do you think that those three will play on Saturday?
Who knows? Well, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. With Twinzaby had a great game at centre back on Saturday. Doesn't play on Tuesday.
Yeah. Gareth Thomas also. What do you make of Jack on the left? It allows two up top, and McGinn, Connor look great in the middle. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. Let's look at the table quickly, unless there's anything else you want to say from the Rotherham game. It should be noted that Rotherham have gone 2.5 years, or almost 2.5 years, without an away win, which is, I mean, it would have been an indictment if Villa hadn't won last night, but could have happened. So 26 losses, 3 draws, so 3 points from a possible 87. Not good enough for a team that wants to cement itself as a championship team. So we'll look at the table, and Bruce did correctly point out that we are into the top 6. We sneak in there on 13 points. Level, it should be said, with 7th and 8th, Wigan and Derby, respectively. Leeds back to the top of the table, 18 points, 1-5 and drawn 3. And Brentford into the second automatic playoff place. Automatic promotion place. They look a good side, as they always do.
Just on that, like on the whole Brentford thing and the whole Dean Smith thing, and Brentford being a great footballing side. I mean, they went to Ipswich on Tuesday and they drew 1-1.
Mm-hmm. So
it happens.
It happens, yeah. Well, we did that as well.
But it happens, as I said, occasionally to the better sides.
It should be noted that with 2 points off Brentford at the moment and 5 off Leeds at the top, it's not a mammoth job to climb into, but the form is important, and like we say, the way that you play is becoming more and more. Well, it's
just
crucial.
These top 2 teams are coached.
Yep.
They're coached better than anyone else in that league.
Yep.
And Brentford, season in, season out, keep on losing their best players.
Yeah.
Ryan Woods sold again. And they just keep on. One, they've got a great scouting network, and 2, they're just coached really well. They've got a philosophy and a style.
Yeah.
And they stick to it.
Well, as we record tonight, there are championship fixtures going on. Middlesbrough currently beating Bolton 1-0, so that would take them back up to second and into the automatics as well. West Brom and Bristol City make up the promotion chasers as things stand, and. Yeah, I mean, there's still a long way to go, Chris. But I think it all comes back down to it, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if we can see good football, then the results will follow.
Totally, yeah, totally. And once we get a settled side, on the go, then that team is. It's frightening.
The league is up for grabs, isn't it? Now, we don't usually get this on the Villa View. Usually we record just a little bit too late for actual breaking news. But there has been an interesting development at Villa Park this evening, and we're still only kind of getting the news as we're in the booth.
I'm sure more will probably come out tomorrow when this goes out.
Do you want to explain what's alleged to have happened?
Just literally, as before you arrived, the Mail Online has reported to say that we've sacked 7 members of the technical staff. With Bruce was present apparently in this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Purslow was told that Ian Atkins, chief scout, isn't needed, along with 6 other members of the backroom team. He said that there's a guy called Eduardo Macia, who's currently at Leicester as head of recruitment. They worked together at Liverpool in 2010.
Right.
They're saying that the person wants him in as the new sporting director. So, this could be a sign or a start things to come.
I think this is a very interesting development, and obviously we don't know so much. And by the time
maybe they want Massey as the chief scout, and they're bringing in a new sporting director in the coming weeks.
Right. Okay. So
it's all quite vague, really. There's not much.
Yeah. Well, as you listen to this, there may be more updates. So we'll obviously we're all just working on what we've seen, and this is only one report so far. But it's a very interesting tell that Purslow and Bruce were there. They've obviously had conversations, and it kind of, to me, that spells
change.
It spells change, but not in the head coaching arena. Steve Bruce here to stay for the foreseeable.
Well, you don't know. I mean, you have to start from the ground up.
But I would say if Bruce was going to get the bullet, then he would have been the first one to go. Then they get rid of a load of, and then they bring in the new guys regime.
Either way, it's a sign. It's a sign of change. It's a sign of intent. We know that Purslow has a lot of contacts within the game. We know he's worked at some really big clubs. So it will take time for him to bring his people in. And reading that, maybe reading that tonight, I was kind of thinking, well, maybe we've all been a little bit too jumping the gun. We want to change straight away. It does take a bit of time to make that change.
He's getting back on the fence, ladies and gentlemen.
But listen, I've seen what you've seen.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen. It just seems to me that the people that wanted Bruce at the club, the people that brought him in, his other staff, all seem to be. It's all change.
Yeah. Well, we will keep a close tabs on it, and by the time you and I are next in the booth, which is next week, we'll hopefully know a little bit more and can expand on it. But as things stand, as you say, change is a coming, to quote someone somewhere. Somebody that's faced a change of scenery. Now, this is a little bit old, but I wanted to kind of bring it up. Richie Delat departs for sunnier climes, joined Melbourne City on loan. 29-year-old, 9th player to leave Villa Park on loan this year. And he joins Warren Joyce, who was a former coach in his previous lives in Belgium and at Leicester, I think. It's another one which Delat's out of contract in the summer. Chris, it feels like another one where we've got rid of a guy, we've brought in, but we're so short at the back. It just seems like an odd one. The kind of, I don't want to get back onto Bruce because we talked about him to death, but it does seem like another, just a weird move for me.
Could I just mention that his full name?
Yeah, please.
Absolutely stunning. Richie Real Alphonse Delat.
Alphonse.
Now
that's got to go into the baby name running order, hasn't it?
That is like something from a Scorsese film, isn't it? That's like a character from a...
Richie Rio Alphonse Delat has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Proper, man.
You could fit him a nice suit, I reckon.
Yeah.
He would be dressed to impress.
What's a name? I like Delat. I've always liked him. I like his energy. I like his... he's good going forward. Been there and done that with Middlesbrough, Leicester. Just wasn't fancied, was he?
No, I mean a lot of. I put this on Twitter that I was disappointed. A lot of people said, "Oh yeah, but there's no room for him. It's good that he goes out on loan." To me, I mean he's out of contract now, so we're never going to see him in a Villa shirt again. No. I don't think he's not going to sign again.
I mean, if I was to talk about defenders leaving, I'd more like to talk about Elphick, really.
Yeah,
I think that's more of a bizarre decision.
But neither player are the problem. It's the decision making as a whole that's the problem. We're getting rid of these players and whereas they could be quite important, and like if we suffer a couple of injuries, then we're very, very short.
Very short.
And you're right. Elphick was one of our main cover for centre backs. Obviously, we've got James Bree as well. Again, who we're not seeing enough of.
Came on last night,
but I think
Bruce fancies him. I think Bruce fancies him as a bit of a centre back as well.
Yeah,
I think
I mean, there's throw out all the rules, to be honest.
Yeah, and I suppose he's young enough really to change and adapt his position. But Delat. I mean, as a right back, we've got cover at right back for sure. But I'd like to have seen him. I thought he was outstanding in pre-season.
Yep.
I'd like to have seen him, especially if we had the likes of Delat bombing forward on the overlap
Yep.
with Balazi, El Ghazi, Kodja, real pace going forward and pace tracking back as well.
Yeah. It's just odd that these players have never really got a chance. Like, I think he's played 8 times in total for Villa over 3 years, which is just disappointing to see. And none of these players are cheap.
But there's a list. There's a long list of players that you could put into that category.
Yeah.
McCormack, Delat, Lansbury, Bree. There's a lot of players at Villa over the years, not just under Bruce's tenure.
Yeah.
It's happened over the years. The infamous bomb squad, So it isn't just Bruce that's done this.
Yeah, it happens to players.
It's happened at Villa a lot.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out.
But he's already looking like he's having a nice time in Australia. I was checking out his Twitter feed earlier, and he seems to be having a nice time in. How would you not in Melbourne?
You wouldn't. Yeah, it'd be hard not to have a nice time there. We seem to be sort of working with him, obviously with McCormack last year, sending him over there.
There must be some sort of link. They're
a twin with Man City, aren't they?
Yes.
Melbourne?
Yeah, because they changed their name, didn't they? Were they Melbourne Fire before? And then they changed to Melbourne City as part of this New York City, Man City collaboration, for want of a better word. Let's talk very quickly about Dr. Tony Jaa. He tweeted for the first time in a month, no matter what happened, you cannot disappear from my world. Now, come on, Dolan, as a social media expert,
I think he's probably got upset by something that he's been told, and he's tweeted it, and then he instantly regrets it. And he's had to kind of cover his back a little bit. I just think Tony, bless him, he's being phased out.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that man. He essentially gambled our club. He put our club, and he gambled it, and it was reckless. And I can't forgive him. Can't forgive it. Between him and Wyness and whatever else went on, I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but it just seemed like they literally were making it up as they went along.
The word
and
reckless.
we believed all this Twitter nonsense, all these tweets and emojis and all this garbage that went on, and we loved it, and there was no substance to it at all, and I think not going up last season could have been the best thing that could have happened to us, because where would it have ended? Were we just going to borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow and hope that we just make money, and he literally is like running the club on a month by month basis. Yeah,
I guess the key word, or the two key words, are gamble and reckless, because if we had gone up, then the windfall that we would have inherited,
how long is that going to last?
Would have been so much, but it maintains.
How long is it going to last?
If you stay up, then it maintains. You become fairly. You earn so much more from being in the Premier League.
Totally.
And coupled with the loss of parachute payments coming down as well, but. Like you say, there was absolutely no plan B. It was an absolutely shocking state of affairs.
Unbelievable.
And I agree with you. I think that Dr. Tony, for all his whim and the fun that we had with Twitter and the fact that he kind of endeared himself to the club, made it even worse in the fact
it was
that,
one big PR stunt.
But I don't understand why he couldn't do both. I mean, he's a millionaire, billionaire owner. Why can't you run a successful business and have somebody tweeting for you or tweet during the games as well? It's just absolutely madness. Like you say, it does look like
it's funny because Tony would have gone into Villa after Lerner and just went, what have I walked into? And then Edens and Suarez have probably walked into that park and gone, what have I walked into? What is going on here? What's a mess?
Yeah, it's a mad one. So he has tweeted again, for all of those that were following Dr. Tony carefully. No matter what's happened, you cannot disappear from my world. So there you go. And to finish, though, I thought it would be remiss if I didn't get your opinion on this. Gabriel Agbonlahor, you seen this?
I thought we'd skip this bit out.
No, I'm saving this bit for the end. Gabriel Agbonlahor has launched his own fashion brand, 6 Figures. I checked out a few of his posts earlier on. Looks great. A nice red hat, not dissimilar to Donald Trump's hat.
Make Gabby great again.
Yeah, and he needs those. He needs that kind of boost. Have you seen any of Gabby's stuff? You're not going to think about, branching out from Paul Smith and maybe working.
I like a trackie, man. I like a nice trackie.
Yeah. Some nice tight-fitting T-shirts.
No, that's more Bartel style, isn't it?
A bit, yeah.
You know, Bartel. You know, that's more his thing. The ripped jeans look and the no socks look in winter.
I thought this would appeal to you. Gabby said, I want to do something out of football, and clothing is something I've always been interested in. When I was a kid, I loved going into town and buying a nice T-shirt for the weekend.
Probably stealing a nice T-shirt.
Oh, come on. Allegedly. Goodness me. You'll bring the Villa View down.
Sorry. I'll get banned.
What, you like buying a nice T-shirt for the weekend? Or a nice shirt? You're all about the shirt for the weekend.
But no.
No?
Just wear clothes, mate. Regardless of what the event is. Do you know what I mean?
I hate buying clothes.
But I'd wear this to a nice restaurant, or I'd wear this to the Villa View podcast. It's just that, for me, you know, I've always said that you just have an identity.
Style is life.
Style, and just go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this whole
naturally.
You know, let's get me a nice shirt on for the weekend. You know, I'm going out to nice restaurants. Just put me a blazer and shirt on and my new jeans. I just wear what I wear. Usually black T-shirt, black jeans, shoes, and a nice jacket.
What do you think about this, though?
Nice bright.
Oh, that's nice.
Lining in there.
What do you think about the old wraparound hoodie here?
Very bobbly.
You know, yeah, it's probably old.
Very bobbly. Like.
As I say, I hate buying clothes. I find it the most boring
I don't like
thing
buying
in the world.
clothes, but I don't like shopping.
Do you not?
No.
I thought you'd love a little shop.
No. I like shopping if I know what I'm getting.
Right, okay, you have a list.
I don't like sort of wandering around the shops.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to have a point and get to it.
And go with it, man.
Do you and your missus go shopping together, or is it separate?
No, it's very separate.
Fair.
Yeah.
Tell you what I love. I love a food shop.
Oh, I hate a food shop.
Do you?
I hate a food shop.
All about the food
I love
shop.
an online food shop.
Yeah. We're online now because we don't have a big supermarket, and you need a big supermarket nowadays.
Well, I've got a big shop coming tomorrow.
Have you?
A big online shop coming tomorrow.
Nice. Where's your supermarket of choice?
Well, not
Under
everyone
contention.
delivers around. Not so. I think it's Morrison's
Oh, interesting.
because they deliver. They do free delivery.
Yeah, we're all about Tesco. It's got delivery saver. You know, it's a sensible option.
Yeah.
Right. That's a bit of a rambly end to the podcast. But unless you've got anything else, Dolan, you want to bring up, we'll get into a couple of questions.
Do a few questions, man.
And some comments here as well.
What are we on? 50. Oh, okay, right.
You know, we've timed it to perfection, to be honest with you.
Yep.
So a couple of questions through YouTube here. Where are we? Moto Mafu. It's a question about my child. I haven't seen this before. November 24th is the expected day. My new daughter is expected on November 15th. I wish you all the best. I've already done it twice before. I'm absolutely... I'm crapping myself, to be honest. We bought a pram the other day. That's why I don't buy any clothes. I don't have any money left. Although my mum...
You can never plan for kids, I don't think. Just got to go with it, man.
My mum came with me and Hannah, and it was very lovely, actually. Her expertise there's four of us. She's got good child rearing expertise. Optimistic Villa fan says Blackburn, Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday, 3 games you'd expect us to win, but I just have no faith in Bruce's tactics or team selection. Kind of similar to what we've been talking about.
But yeah, I mean, I think he isn't the only one that feels that way.
AVFC vlogger, solid performance today. Abraham, great debut, but we cannot be too confident. Rotherham aren't the best side. They will be fighting relegation at the end of the season. Up the Villa, let's keep it going. Sowed forever. We overreact when we lose. We overreact when we win. From what I've seen so far, we are not better than a top half side. I think that's right, but I don't think that's an overreaction. I think we should want to be better,
of course,
than that. So I don't necessarily agree. I agree that we're not better than a top half side, but that's a massive underachievement for Villa.
You have to just, being a Villa fan, and the way the last 10 years have gone, you have to just enjoy it. You have to enjoy a win when it comes, because they can be few and far between sometimes.
They certainly can. They certainly can. Dean Lynch, no relation to Matt Lynch, I don't think, although it could be. Consistency and controlling games instead of chasing games is key to getting automatic promotion. This has to be drilled into the team, kind of like we were talking about earlier, taking the game to the other team.
Yep.
Enery FX, I'm not sure I've said that right. Hopefully a platform to at least turn a corner and at least start feeling like we're a secure unit with a solid identity. Fingers crossed for that, UTV. I mean, I think we're all
identity, mate. That's
what
we want. That's what we need. That's what we're kind of for, is an identity and a plan.
Yeah.
To go forward.
Yeah, Jimmy Danger. I don't think it's that Jimmy Danger. There's never a plan. We get the ball forward and it ends up back at the halfway line within seconds. Bruce out. I think this just speaks volumes about but the difference in fans at the moment. There is a real split between the fans.
I don't think there's a split. There isn't anymore.
You think it's all?
I think it's there was, and I think somebody mentioned the post match last night really hasn't done him any favours at all.
Well, I'm going to tell you, just going on to the next one. Keep it on the deck. Some Villa fans are an embarrassment. All these Bruce out fools. 8 games in 1 loss. 2 points off second. Same fans will come licking back when things go well. Is that a phrase? Can you lick back? Come crawling back, maybe?
You can try.
Not true support. Disloyal fans are those who turn their backs the first little peep of the chance they get. Get a grip. That's strong words, because I don't personally agree with that. But it isn't
just this season. We're not talking about just this season. It's the comments. It's the press conferences. It's like, let's say after a pre-season, okay, right, you've had a pre-season. Let's give me a couple of transfer windows. Okay, you've had a few transfer windows. You've had budgets to bring in players like John Terry. You've had great squads for the last 2 seasons, and you still haven't done what you were brought in to do.
Yeah,
and that's to get us up.
I mean,
so that's the and we just think that the way it's gone so far is going to be the same thing again, and I mean, that's the problem.
It speaks to what I was saying earlier, because the next comment right under that is Bruce out. So
hope he isn't watching this.
Yeah, Cyberdon Blue. I'm pleased that we got the 3 points, but Bruce would have been hung, drawn and quartered if we hadn't. Rotherham looked like a very poor team from the off, and the gulf in class was obvious even to an idiot. But we did our best at times to make them look half decent and let them get back into the game. The very minimum that could be seen as acceptable. We've stopped the slide, so let's see what you can come up with on Saturday, Mr. Bruce. That's an abridged version of Cyberdon Blue.
And then at the end, great to see Chris Dolan back in the booth.
Does he say that?
Very much missed.
I'm not sure he says that, mate.
No.
Not sure we've got any comments like that. But it is good to have you back in the booth, Chris Dolan. It's been good fun, and we're getting together again next week, aren't we, to discuss everything Sheffield Wednesday related. We're going to do a preview after this as well to get into that one. So there'll be a couple of points that we haven't got to in the questions that we'll talk about there as well. Good to be back.
Yeah, really good to be back. And just to mention, I think it's Aston's birthday today.
Aston Radford.
Yeah, so happy birthday, big lad.
Happy birthday, mate.
26 years young.
Really?
Yeah.
Looks a lot older.
He looks a lot older than that.
Aston, happy birthday, mate. Yes, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you guys commenting, getting involved. We try and give as balanced a view as possible of the Villa fan base. We don't read out every comment every week. We just can't. But we really appreciate all the comments that you do give, and we try to get to as many as possible. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe to the Villa View YouTube channel as well. And if you're listening on iTunes, you can also give us a cheeky little review. We're going to do the preview. There's fan cams up from Rotherham, and we'll be back next week with the podcast when we're talking all things Sheffield Wednesday.
Yes.
Happy?
Ish.
Happy-ish. That's the best we can do. All right, stick with the channel, stick with the Villa, up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.